first, we want to talk about a Tony Award-winning play based on a best-selling novel, and it will be at Portland Center Stage at the Armory this week.
Yeah, The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime follows the story of Christopher, a very smart 15-year-old boy on the autism spectrum who's accused of killing his neighbor's dog. He sets out to uncover who really did it, and in the process uncovers a secret that turns his world upside down. So Jaime Sanders plays Christopher, and he is here this morning to talk with us about the production and how it is a first for the Armory, too. There's a lot of cool stuff happening here. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so this is a cool story. For anyone who's unfamiliar with the book, because it's based on a best-selling novel.
Yes.
If you're unfamiliar with the play, give us kind of a little rundown. Don't give too much
All right.
away.
Yeah.
No spoilers. Here's the rundown. Okay, Christopher Boone, he is 15 years and 3 months and 2 days old. He finds his neighbor's dog, Wellington, who is a good acquaintance of his, unfortunately murdered in his neighbor's yard in the middle of the night. It's all in the title. It's the Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I mean, I feel like it's maybe morbid, just call it curious, but you know, Christopher has an interesting way of looking at the world, and then he sets off on an adventure to figure out who did it. And if I tell you anything else, I feel like I might be spoiling
Giving
something.
it away.
Right,
so,
and
yeah.
it gets into some real interesting twists and turns.
Yes.
You're not going to know where the story is going. It's
No,
really
most people are a bit shaken by,
really?
by the end of it, yes.
And so how do you connect with this main character?
Well, Christopher he is on the autism spectrum. They keep it intentionally vague, which I think is wonderful, because that way actors playing Christopher can kind of bring their own element to it. So, for example, I have Tourette syndrome, and I grew up with Tourette's, and for me personally, I am bringing elements of motion and rhythm and things that I find similarities between my experience and Christopher's experience in. But for example, there's this guy, Mickey Rowe, who is doing it, who is very much diagnosed with Asperger's. And so the way he plays it is different than from how I play it, is different from how the guy who did it on Broadway did it. And I think that's part of what makes the show so special.
I think it's really interesting to see characters in a play with disabilities represented, as well as actors who are so open and talking about things in their own life, too, that they are dealing with. How have you felt audience kind of connect with that? I
have found that there have been members of the autism community in the audience in the first few performances that we have done, because we are in previews right now, and they have come and talked to me afterwards, and they have shared their experiences. And I think that what is so important about having Christopher on stage in this is the fact that he is something you don't necessarily see every day, and we are presenting it in a way that is intentionally, hopefully opening up his experience to people who don't understand autism, while also putting something familiar for people who very much have to live with it every day.
Yeah, and talk about the Armory's first ever sensory-friendly performance that's coming up on March 31st.
That's really cool.
Yes, of course. The sensory-friendly performance is a great idea, because unfortunately, in the process of creating an experience that maybe helps people relate to the overwhelming nature of the autistic experience, that doesn't necessarily make it the most fun for somebody with autism to sit in that audience. I mean, obviously they have attended the show whenever and have enjoyed it, but for someone who goes, oh, I don't know if I can really handle sitting in that audience that whole time.
Some of the lights and
yeah, we're going to have
sounds
some
like
of the lights
that,
turned up. We're going to have the big noises turned down a bit. Maybe some of the parts where people are yelling, the actors are going to kind of bring it back just a little notch. You know, we're not going to sacrifice any of the power or importance of the play, but we are going to keep in mind that representing people and letting people see themselves represented is just as important as overwhelming your audience when they don't understand autism.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Representation and accessibility. I think it's a very cool thing that the Armory is going to be putting on. Jaime, thank you. We appreciate you being here to talk about it. You can catch the Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime starting March 6th at Portland Center Stage Theater at the Armory. Regular tickets, $25 to $92, and then, of course, that sensory-friendly performance happening March 31st. You can learn more about all the shows when you check out this story on KOIN.com.